excited to be here today, mostly because one of my favorite things to do is to share career management information. It's one of my greatest passions in life because I believe that we all should be doing a job that we love. We spend half our life at work. In fact, some of us spend more time with our coworkers than we do with our significant other. So why not enjoy it? Why not have fun doing that, right? So today I'm here to talk to you about a 2-minute pitch. And so why is a 2-minute pitch important? Anybody? What did you say? I didn't hear you. Quick and to the point. Okay. Why else is it important?
I mean, your first impression is basically most of the time your last impression. So the first 2 minutes play the most important role in your life, well, career-wise, if you're trying to make an impact on someone. So that's why it's very important.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, when people hear you, with the first couple of things that come out your mouth, that's what they're going to remember from the get-go. So what kind of areas can you use a 2-minute pitch? Where can you use it? Networking events. Where else? Career fairs. Where else?
Elevator.
At the elevator. Yeah. Okay. What else? Sorry? At a job interview, definitely. You know, we are all salespeople. Each and every one of us. Mostly because you have a company. You all own a company, whether you know it or not. What's your name?
Cheryl Watson.
Cheryl Watson. Hi, Cheryl.
How you doing?
Cheryl, you are the owner of Cheryl Incorporated. Cheryl Watson Incorporated. Yeah, and you know what, Cheryl? You are also the #1 salesperson for Cheryl Incorporated.
True.
Yeah, and your #1 product is your personal service. And no one but you, Cheryl, can sell that better than anyone else, right?
Right.
Because it's you. And you know, we hear brands all the time, just on TV, that sell us things. And it's catchy, because that first 60 seconds on the commercial, we will never forget it. I'll give you a couple examples. I'm going to say a jingle, and I just want you to complete it, right? Campbell's soup. Good. Yeah. State Farm. Like a good neighbor.
State Farm is there.
Yeah. Or American Express. Never leave home. Exactly. We all are being sold, and we are also salespeople. So it's always important to make sure that you're selling yourself. Next slide. So whenever you're in an interview, generally the first question is they'll sit there behind their desk and say, So, Cheryl, it's good meeting you. So tell me a little bit about yourself. When they ask you that question is not, tell me what you've done since birth. The real question is, tell me why I should hire you. Give me all the reasons as to why I should hire you. And so at that moment, that's your opportunity to give your 2-minute pitch. They want to know, what's your story? What's your story? Next slide. So any 2-minute pitch has to answer 3 questions, just 3. The first question is, what have you done before? What have you done before? Next slide. So you want to think about some of the milestones in your life. For some of you, you have an MBA. You've either graduated or you're going to complete your MBA at some point. So you want to talk about that. Where you got your education from, where you've worked, what kind of experience do you have? What industry are you branding yourself for? Next slide. Second question, why do you want this position? Why do you want this position? Next slide. So you want to talk about, in your pitch, your goal. What's your long-term goal? What's your vision for your life? Where do you see yourself 5, 10, 15 years from now? You know, most people don't even think that far. 5 years or 10 years? I mean, where do you think you would be? It's 2011. Say your name?
Melissa.
Hey, Melissa. So, Melissa, where do you think you would be in 2021?
I'll be the CEO of a company.
CEO of a company, exactly, right? So say you're interviewing for a position at a particular company, and you know you have a goal. And so you want to talk about how this particular position will be the piece, the missing piece that you need to move forward in that goal. So you want to be able to articulate that, right? Next slide. Next question. Why should we hire you? And so a lot of times many people say, well, because I have an MBA. So what? As they mentioned before, there are thousands of other people who have MBAs. But what makes you different? So, sorry? Skill. Well, you can say as you have skill, you're a multitasker, you can manage projects, and you have great technical skills, and you know how to increase profits, you understand their business model, but that really doesn't matter. Because what really matters at this point is, where have you had successes? Next slide. Where have you won? What are your major accomplishments? What are the things where you just had a yes moment? One of those times. And so you want to be able to bring those things together and articulate that in your 2-minute pitch in a way that's relevant to that job. Next slide. You also want to talk about times where you've been able to solve a problem, where you found the missing piece to this problem here, and you fixed it. You want to talk about things like that, because generally in an interview, they want to see, they're trying to evaluate your past performance to determine how you're going to perform in the future. So in 2 minutes, you want to be able to articulate that. Sounds tough, huh? Next slide. So the first thing you want to do when you have a pitch, when you're answering these questions in your mind, you want to take it out of your head and you want to put it down on paper. You want to definitely put it down on paper. I can't tell you how many times somebody will tell me their 2-minute pitch, and they'll start saying, well, back then I accomplished at this company, what number was that? And you can't even really think through your entire pitch because it never has been written down. It's something interesting about a 2-minute pitch when you write it down, that it fully starts to make sense. You start to see it and start to feel it. It starts to become real. So you want to write it down. You want to put it down on paper. Get it out of your head and put it down on paper, because until you put it down on paper, it's really not a pitch. It's just an idea. Next. So you want to come up with 2 versions. As you're answering these questions, you come up with this pitch. You want to come up with 2 versions. One for a 5-second interaction, right? I know whenever I go to a networking event, people ask me, so what do you do? I say, I'm a career coach. I help career professionals just like yourself land their dream job and clarify their career path. That's my 5-second pitch. You instantly know the value that I can provide with that one statement. The other version is more for more when you know that you're going to have more time to talk to them, such as a job interview, when they ask you that infamous question. So tell me a little bit about yourself, or walk me through your resume. You want to be able to articulate that in 2 different versions. Next slide. And you also want to make sure that you practice. Practice, right? Practice again, and again, and again, and again, and again. I can tell you that over the past 3 years, my pitch has changed over 100 times. I've written it out. I thought of it. I've written it out. I went to networking events. So what do? I'll give them one version, and I'll think about it. That didn't sound right to me. I don't like how they reacted to that. No, I'm changing it. And I'll go back home to the lab and start coming up with my master pitch again, and then the next event. So what do? and I'll tell them what I'll get my master plan, my master pitch, and say, I do this. And then they'll react, and then we'll start having a conversation, and they'll think, I don't know if that really says what I do. I don't like that one. I'm going to change it. So you definitely want to practice and practice and practice and practice, because if you're not practicing, then you can never come down to the perfect one, the one that actually works, the one that truly articulates who you are. Next slide. So when you're giving your pitch, you want to be enthusiastic. You don't want them to do this. Yeah. You don't want them to yawn. There's nothing worse than a boring pitch. You know, it's just like watching TV and you see that commercial and you're wondering, what? And then you flip the channel. You don't want someone to flip the channel in your pitch. You don't want someone to, during the interview while you're talking to them and they ask you, so tell me a little bit about yourself. Their mind starts wandering off to what they need to do after this interview is done. You don't want that to happen. Because you know what? It's human nature. Even though they're supposed to be professional and be there for an interview, our mind can tend to wander at some point. So you want to make sure that you're enthusiastic. Make it interesting. Next slide. All right, so here's a sample pitch, right? My name is Obi. I'll be graduating, or I just graduated from Rutgers University. That's actually where I went to school. I majored in electrical engineering. But if you're probably wondering how I got to career coaching, that's another story. All right, so my name is Obi Okera. I just graduated from Rutgers. This is a shortened version of your pitch, with a degree in electrical engineering. Even though I did engineering, I'm looking to change people's lives by helping them to land their dream job. See that I'm looking to? That is your value proposition. You want it to be something that's interesting, right? This is the pitch that you use when you're at a short networking event, when you're casually saying hi and bye, you know, and they ask you, so what do you do? When you're in the cab or in the bus and they say, hey, and you just strike up some conversation. So what do you do? That's a quick pitch, quick. So, and you want to definitely make sure that that last part I'm looking to is something that captures them, something that states your value proposition. Next slide. Now, if you're more of a working professional and you have X number of years of experience, then your pitch might be a little bit different than someone who's just graduating from school who might not have a lot of experience. So it'll be quite different, and then it'll be something as, hi, my name is Obi Okera. I work as a career coach. I help career professionals land their dream job and clarify their career path. See this last part right here? That's your value proposition. That's my value proposition. I help people land their dream job and clarify their career path. Next slide. So right now, what we're going to do, we're going to practice.